Before the car, before the highway, before the suburb, there was the bus. It carried workers to the factory, kids to school, soldiers home from the war, and protesters into history. These aren't reviews. These aren't specs. These are the 10 American buses that shaped the nation, from a sleeper coach on the California coast in 1928 to a city bus on a Montgomery street in 1955 that changed everything. 10 buses. 10 stories this country hasn't finished telling. If you're new here, this channel is about the vehicles that built America, state by state, era by era. Hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Number 10. Most Americans had never been on an airplane. The train was expensive. The car was unreliable on long hauls. And then a company out of LA built something nobody had ever seen on the road. A 2-story bus with sleeping berths, a toilet, and enough room for 26 passengers to wake up in a different city. The Pickwick Night Coach ran overnight between Los Angeles and San Francisco. You boarded at night, climbed into your bunk, and pulled the curtain shut. Same as a Pullman sleeper, except this was on a highway. European engineers came to study it. The design was so far ahead of its time that nothing like it would appear again in America for decades. The Depression killed the operation before it could grow. But for 5 years, the Pickwick Night Coach was the most advanced road vehicle on the continent. Number 9. Before 1939, school buses in America came in every color imaginable: red, green, black, white. There was no standard size, no standard height, no required emergency exit. A school bus in Georgia looked nothing like a school bus in Ohio. That year, a Columbia University professor named Frank Sear called a conference in New York City. Representatives from 48 states showed up. They argued for a week. And when it was over, they had agreed on one thing. Every school bus in America would be painted the same color, a shade they called National School Bus Chrome Yellow. Wayne Works, out of Richmond, Indiana, was the first manufacturer to adopt every element of the new standard. Their body on a Ford chassis became the template. The long hood, the flat nose, the rounded windows, the emergency exit in the back, that's Wayne Works. Every yellow school bus you've ever seen is a descendant of that decision, made in a conference room in 1939. Number 8. Every bus you've ridden in the last 50 years has a flat front, no hood, and the engine in the back. That layout did not always exist. Someone had to invent it. Yellow Coach did. The Model 733 was the first American transit bus to put the engine completely behind the rear axle, hidden out of the passenger cabin. No hood, no engine noise in your face. 30% more room for seats. Chicago bought them. Detroit bought them. Cleveland bought them. By 1940, every major transit authority in the country was ordering rear-engine buses, and every one of those orders was based on what Yellow Coach proved in 1937. GM had bought Yellow Coach back in 1925 specifically to control this market. The Model 733 was the moment that investment paid off, and it set the template for American urban transit for the rest of the century. Number 7. The war was over. 16 million American men and women had served. Now they needed to get home. Greyhound put 1,800 of these on the road between 1947 and 1950. The PD 3751, nicknamed the Silver Sides for its corrugated steel body, was the bus that carried America's veterans from the ports and train stations back to the towns they'd left behind. It ran every major route before a single interstate highway existed, coast to coast on 2-lane roads, through towns that didn't have airports, through counties that didn't have train stations. If your grandfather came home from the Pacific on a bus, there's a good chance it looked exactly like this. It was also one of the most photographed vehicles of its era. That corrugated silver body caught the light in a way no other bus did. You could see a Silver Sides coming from half a mile away. Number 6. In the early 1950s, most American families didn't fly. They didn't drive cross-country either. The interstates didn't exist yet. If you wanted to see America, you took a bus. The flexible Visicoach, and yes, they spelled it without the E, gave you the best seat in the house. Floor-to-ceiling panoramic windows. The kind of view you could only get from the front seat of a car, but now shared with 40 other passengers rolling down Route 66 toward New Mexico or the Pacific. It was built in Loudonville, Ohio, by a company that had started making ambulances and hearses. The Visicoach was their masterpiece. It ran the main corridors of pre-interstate America, U.S. Route 40, Route 66, U.S. 1, carrying families, students, migrants, and workers who were seeing the country for the first time. Before the highway, before the airport, this was how you crossed America. Number 5. Not every American bus story is about long highways and scenic windows. Some stories are about 5 in the morning, a lunchbox, and a shift at the mill. The twin-coach Model 44S was built in Kent, Ohio, and it was engineered for exactly that world. 2 engines, one on each side of the chassis, tucked in low, which is where the name came from. The result was a flat floor, no wheel humps, no step up from the curb. Decades before the Americans with Disabilities Act made it a legal requirement, Twin Coach was already building buses that anyone could board without climbing. Chicago Transit bought hundreds of them. So did Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati. This was the bus that carried steel workers, factory workers, and machinists to their shifts and back home again, every day, for years, without anyone writing a story about it. That's how most of America actually ran. Not glamour, just showing up. Number 4. If you close your eyes and picture a Greyhound bus, the one from the movies, the one from the postcards, the one your parents or grandparents talked about, this is the bus you're seeing. Greyhound ordered exactly 1,001 of them. The PD 4501 Cinecruiser had 2 levels, a raised rear deck with panoramic windows, and 2 Detroit diesel engines running side by side underneath. It was the most advanced passenger bus on the planet when it was introduced, and it looked like the future. It was also a pain to maintain. 2 engines meant 2 of everything that could break. But passengers loved it. It showed up in Hollywood films, in magazine spreads, in TV commercials. The Cinecruiser became the face of Greyhound for 20 years, and the face of American optimism on the open road. By the mid-1970s, most were retired. A handful survive in museums and private collections. But for one generation of Americans, this is what going somewhere looked like. Number 3. Grumman built the lunar module, the vehicle that landed Neil Armstrong on the moon. That was Grumman, out of Bethpage, Long Island. When the Apollo program wound down, they needed a new contract. New York City Transit offered them one. Build us a bus. Grumman took the job seriously. They used aerospace-grade aluminum, the same lightweight alloys from the Apollo program. The result was a bus 30% lighter than anything else on the market. New York bought 637 of them starting in 1973. Washington and other cities followed. Then the cracks appeared. Literally, the aluminum frame developed stress fractures. Buses were pulled from service, put back in, pulled again. The whole fleet became a rolling controversy. By the mid-1980s, most of them were gone, and Grumman never built a bus again. But for a few years, the company that reached the moon tried to fix the New York City subway system's problems from street level. That's a story worth telling. Number 2. Most people know Mack for trucks. The bulldog hood ornament, the heavy haulers, the rigs that built the interstates and moved freight across the country. But for nearly 2 decades, Mack also built buses, and the C-41 was the one that made the strongest case for why they should. The Mack C-41 was a post-war workhorse, heavier than anything else on the street, built with the same over-engineered mentality that went into Mack's trucks. Philadelphia put them on the road. Newark ran them. New York City Transit bought hundreds of them and put them on the toughest routes in the boroughs, the lines that chewed up lighter buses in a matter of years. The C-41 didn't look elegant. It looked like it was built to last, because it was. Mack welded their buses the same way they welded their truck frames, with the assumption that whatever they built would have to survive decades of punishment. By the late 1950s, GM had locked up most of the transit bus market, and Mack quietly stepped back. But in the post-war cities of the American Northeast, the factory towns, the mill cities, the neighborhoods that ran on shift work and public transit, the Mack C-41 was part of the daily machinery of life. Number 1. Bus number 2857 of the Montgomery City lines was a GM TDH 3501, the same model running in hundreds of American cities. A 40-passenger transit bus. Nothing unusual about it. Rosa Parks boarded at Court Square. She took a seat in the 5th row, the first row of the colored section. When the front filled up and the driver, James Blake, asked her to give up her seat for a white passenger, she said no. She was arrested. That night, A 26-year-old pastor named Martin Luther King Jr. organized what would become a 381-day boycott of the Montgomery bus system. 50,000 black residents walked, carpooled, and stayed off the buses. The system bled money. And on November 13, 1956, the Supreme Court ruled that bus segregation was unconstitutional. Bus number 2857 is preserved today at the Henry Ford Museum in Dearborn, Michigan. You can stand next to it. You can look at the fifth row. It is an ordinary bus. That's exactly the point. 10 buses. 100 years of American history. From a two-story sleeper on a California highway in 1928 to a city bus on a Montgomery street that changed the course of a nation. None of them were glamorous. None of them asked for attention. They just showed up every day and carried this country forward. Now we want to hear from you. Tell us in the comments what city you're watching from. And tell us which bus from your town, your state, your childhood deserved a spot on this list. Because we know we missed some. Which one did we miss? Drop it in the comments. If this is the kind of history you want more of, the real stories, the vehicles, the moments nobody talks about anymore, hit subscribe and ring that bell. We're building this channel one era at a time, and there's a lot more coming. And if this video earned it, leave us a like. It helps more people find these stories. We'll see you on the next one.